Hi again, breakfast cereal eaters, and welcome to another edition of What's in the Box. So what have we got for you this time? Well, this is a bit of a departure from cereal because actually this relates to Walker's Crisps. And in 1996 they released the Star Wars Trilogy Tazos. I collected them all, so let's take a look. So this is a brilliant offer by Walker's, tying in with the official Star Wars Trilogy edition that was being re-released in the cinemas at the time. So you could buy these collector's albums, and you might have seen one actually in my bookshelf as we do each of the intros for these What's in the Boxes. But this is the mint one that I got from Tesco's, where there was a special sort of prizes that you could win. £5,000. There was Tazo box set, cinema tickets and Tazos. So this was just one of the sealed bags. Can't remember how much it cost at the time, but it does tell you what all the various contents are. And when you opened it up, this is what it was like. So this is the complete one from my bookshelf. So you've got this sort of fold out here talking about some of the main characters. You've got a card sheet there for the competition where you had to basically rub off some hit and miss signs to see if you actually won a prize. And then you got the all-important, oh, this one's coming loose, you get the all-important holders for the various Tazos. So this one's complete, but you'll see on the back it's plain card. You've got the original sort of film shot there that was based on the actual Tazo itself, and these Tazos, if I can get them out, there we go, literally just slotted in, so they were all numbered. You'll see this one's number 4, Luke Skywalker, and then you obviously had to line it up to put into the actual display there. So let's look at the crisp packets first before we go through each of these in turn. So here are some of the Monster Munch ones that I've got. So you'll see that all the different types of Monster Munch, so you've got the Flaming Hot, the Beef Burger and the Pickled Onion, have all got a Stormtrooper on the front. And all very clearly talking about the Star Wars Trilogy Tazo. And there was information on the back there about the competition itself. So you were hoping that you would actually find a Tazo inside the actual packet of crisps itself. So I can't remember what the actual sort of likelihood was, but if you were lucky, they came in these sort of plastic bags here, just to obviously make sure you didn't eat them. And here's all the ones I've got with C3PO on. So we've got some really weird and wonderful flavours here. We've got roast beef and mustard, got Worcester sauce, beef and onion, salt and vinegar, obviously classic, barbecue, char grilled steak, smoked cheddar, roast chicken, pickled onion. We've got cheese and onion, and a slightly different pose the other way. These are obviously the lights, cheese and onion lights, salt and vinegar lights, ready salted lights, prawn cocktail flavour, smoky bacon, tomato ketchup and ready salted. And here's R2-D2 on Quavers. So we've got the original cheese flavour and tangy tomato flavour. And then of course we couldn't forget Chewbacca. So he's on French fries, what's that one, Worcester sauce, ready salted and salt and vinegar. And finally we've got Doritos featuring Darth Vader. So we've got sizzling barbecue, cool original flavour and tangy cheese. And you'll see it says here 10 special designs exclusive to Doritos. So I'll cover that in a moment. Now the thing is, the small packets actually had only one Tazo in. If you bought one of the multi-packs, this is what some of them were like here. So in these, I seem to recall you got 3. They weren't in the plastic bags. These were just loose. So that was one of the big Doritos bags, and here's one of the big Walker's ones with all the various ones in there. So these all did have some sort of Tazo in, but you know, they put it right across the range here. So yes, I was busy eating crisps at the time. So let's turn to the Tazos. So I did manage to get the whole lot of these in mint bags too. So this is just a display holder that I've just put them in just to look after them. But as I mentioned to you before, you'll see that they're all numbered, and then you've got a description of exactly what the relative scene or character is. So you've got Darth Vader, Grand Moff Tarkin, Obi-Wan, various other bits and pieces like that. So that was the first sheet there. Here's a second sheet as well of more. You've got some interesting ones there of lightsabers. What is it? Luke and Vader. Not really much to see in it, but you can just about make the characters out. And here's the final lot. So these were the ones that were issued in Doritos, the last 10. And one of the things you could do is, if you were lucky, you actually came across one of the reps from Walker's, you may come across one of these, which was their special Tazos. And they gave these out at various sort of events and places like that. So it's a Walkerman Tazo, and it went along with this series. And if you were playing the proper Tazo game, you obviously got extra points for having those. Now, one of the things before I move on, it's worth mentioning is that they did actually variations on these as well. So some of the prints were different, and I'll show you some of these. Let's have a look at this one and this one. So on the face of them, look exactly the same, but actually when you turn them over, you'll see the difference here is that this one's actually got trademark written on there, TM, and this one doesn't have it. So don't quite know why they made that difference there. All of these are the variations that I've got to the sort of full set of Tazos, and these all have the TM and copyright symbol on them. So before I move on though, it's just worth sharing some other variations, because if I pick some of these out, like for example number 19, you'll see this is the first edition of it, which is Jedi Master Yoda, and this is the variation, Yoda Jedi Master. Exactly the same image on the other side, but for some reason or other they've decided to change the wording. We've got another, which is number 26. So this one says Luke, Leia and R2-D2, and the other version I have is Leia, Luke and R2-D2, which I think is the correct one, because it is Leia, Luke and R2-D2, but the same images on those. We've got this one here, which is Biker Scout, and the alternative version is Scout Trooper. And finally, this is the one that I showed you right at the very beginning actually. This is obviously Luke and Vader, and we've got a couple of variations here. So we've got Luke and Vader with the TM that I mentioned earlier, but we've also got Luke and Vader, it says Luke and Darth. So really odd. I guess it's printing errors and things like that. Some of the other things to keep an eye out for is this is the quick win prize that you got sometimes with the Tazo. So in this case it was a free single packet of crisps, so just literally a piece of paper on that one. And these were quite fun. I came across these at a service station selling them, where if you bought enough Walker's crisps they gave you one. So you got this Tazo Slammer, and then you got 3 Star Wars Tazos inside as well. So it talked about some of the sort of big screenings that were going on with the actual films themselves on the back, but it was another nice little sort of promotional touch which was out there, and I'd imagine is sort of probably quite scarce to see now. Now let's turn back to the presentation pack itself, because one of the things you got when you actually opened this was one of these cards. You only got one per pack, so you had to get 8 different packs to get the whole set, but this was like a sort of I don't know, like a credit card for each of the characters. So you've obviously got Luke Skywalker there, you could sign it, and it's got obviously a little bit of a profile on him as well. But you can see the rest of them here. You've got Yoda, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, Han Solo, C-3PO and R2-D2. So really nice actually, I think. A nice little touch, albeit quite an expensive way of having to get the whole set. So let's go through the rest of these. So we've already had a look first page. Let's just work our way through. So obviously talking about each of these, Darth Vader and Grand Hoff Tarkin are holding Princess Leia hostage aboard the Death Star in an attempt to stop the rebellion against the Galactic Empire. So it's a nice way of actually building the story up actually as you go through each of these, and then having obviously all the various scenes. So again, you'll see it's also talking about which of the actual films it relates to. Obviously in this case you've got the Empire Strikes Back. And then finally we've got Return of the Jedi. And these were the ones that were probably harder to complete the set because of the fact that they were in the Doritos, and you know, you had to like Doritos if you wanted the final 10 of these actual Tazos, and they're certainly the more scarce of the lot. And then you got this very final special Trilogy Tazo at the very end, number 50. Again, pretty nice touch that, I think. And then there's a Tazo trivia as well, various questions asking about the film itself. You know, who's the creator of Star Wars trilogy? And then you've got the answers all down the side there. George Lucas. Now, one of the things I saw recently that I'd not seen before, and it might tie in with that sort of collector's pack that was issued, is this, which is a special sort of C3PO packet, which contains a whole load of the Tazos in it as well. I think this is quite fun. I don't assume it's not commercially available because I'd never seen one before. The other things that they did in Australia was actually issue these. This is the official Tazos collector album, and it didn't come out in the UK for some reason or other, but it's very similar to the Tazos album that came out with the Walker's Crisps with all the Looney Tune characters, in that you got an image of each of the actual figures, but there was a major difference to these ones because these are all sort of lenticular. So these are quite fun. They obviously came in packets of crisps like this, but let's take one of them out, shall we? If I can get it out. So you can hopefully see the lenticular bit. There you go. You've got the sort of laser shooting from the actual ship. Slightly different from the others as well, because you remember the others are all white backing. These are all purple. But these are really nice. So there's quite a lot of these, and they also went from round ones to this sort of hexagonal shape as well, which was rather bizarre. These aren't lenticular, these are just normal cards. But and again, you'll see slightly different colouring on the back as well. So no idea why they didn't issue them in the UK. It was a real shame, actually. Oh, and then we went back to hexagonal. Actually, they're not sort of lenticular in the sense you don't get two pictures, but they're very much a 3D image. I'm not sure if it'll come out on the screen okay here, but you might just see how that's a sort of a 3D image. And these are circular. Number 132. So as you'll see, I didn't manage to collect all of these. There's quite a few gaps there, but then that's mainly down to the fact that I didn't live in Australia and wasn't able to eat them all. So for me, this is a brilliant set. Don't forget to check out the advert that appears at the very end of this clip as well, advertising this offer. So personally, I love this set. It's one of my pride and joys because it's so much to it. I love the packaging. The fact that I've kept all the packets of crisps that I actually scoffed down in the 90s is obviously a sign of the fact that I'm a true collector of all this rubbish. But hey, I just think it's brilliant. And the fact that there was also so many different variations and different things to look out for, I think just made it a real collector's dream. So great offer, this one, and yeah, really gets my thumbs up.
Hold tight.
I'm going in.
Computer locked. Now Walkers bring you 50 Star Wars Tazos to collect.
Find them in special packs of Walker's Crisps and Snacks.